Yo, we talking about groceries on FBA. Yo, easy. Yeah. J to the O, the Mayos. Groceries on FBA. What you know about that? Step your game up, suck it.
All right, you're all set, Todd.
All righty. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Tonight we're talking about the ever exciting topics of reconciling your refunds and your inbound shipments. Very tedious process, lots of moving pieces and parts, but we'll step through all the sections you need to go to evaluate if you have any reimbursements coming to you, if you're missing items, that type of thing. And make sure you join us the next 2 Wednesdays, because we'll be going over some software that makes this whole process a lot easier to do, because it's kind of a bear to do manually. So let me share my screen out so you guys can follow along here. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see that. If not, just go ahead and shoot me a message, and we'll see what's going on there. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the message board as well. So basically, we'll go through the inbound inventory reconciliation first. That's the easiest, the most straightforward. A lot less places to look. So under inventory, if you go to manage FBA shipments, and you can ignore that little red flag. That's just saying I'm approved to selling toys against holiday. But if you go to manage FBA shipments, it shows all of your FBA shipments that you've sent, the status of them, whether they're open, closed, or in transit, and also it will show the number of items shipped. And that number comes from when you build the shipment and you tell it how many you're shipping, and it will also show the number received. And that's the number that Amazon thinks that they have found in your shipment. There is really no easy way to go through reconciling this. The only thing you can really do is either just manually check it or do a spreadsheet just to keep tabs on it. Again, some of the software we're covering kind of makes it a little bit easier. But what you want to look at is in this third column, well, at least the second, third column, shipped and received, these numbers should be the same. If not, that means that something that you say you shipped, Amazon couldn't find, or it wasn't labeled properly, or you may have shipped too many items. And I pulled a couple of them up just to show you an example. If you do notice a discrepancy, and you have to wait several days after it's checked in before they'll let you actually open the ticket and reconcile it. But if you notice in the older shipment a discrepancy, such as this one that says, I think I shipped 42, and they say they received 43. Where'd it go? I scrolled right past it. Okay, let me find another one. I don't know where I scrolled past. Let's see. Okay, here's another one. It looks like I shipped 29. They say they received 37. So when you see a discrepancy like that, you can click on the shipment link, and it will show you, you can look at the actual contents, what you think you sent, and then you can go over to the reconcile field. And that is where any of the items that there's a discrepancy on, it will have listed here. And they've automated a lot of this. It's a lot easier than it used to be. But here's what you say you shipped. They say they found 9 of those of this particular item. And so based on that, you can either say extra units shipped, or no, that's not right. You shouldn't have received those. So you can do unexpected, please research. On the flip side, if you notice one where it is missing, like this one, it will show units not shipped or missing, please research. So basically, you have to go back and reconcile either on your notes or on your spreadsheet, or however you keep your records. You can go in Inventory Lab and reconcile it to say whether or not you actually shipped those items. Now, obviously, it's your word against Amazon, so most of the time they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you start logging a significant number of shipment problems, they will ding your metrics, and you can have negative repercussions on your account. So it's as simple as just clicking on, click back to here, clicking on the action, and either saying, no, that doesn't make sense, research it, or extra shipped. This one, I did not ship 9 of that item, so I'm going to say unexpected, please research. You can add documents if you want to, so if you take a picture of the box or packing slip, you can add that. Otherwise, you can put any additional information and then click preview your request. It will show you the items that you're disputing, and then you click submit request, and we'll open the ticket for you and give you a case ID. The nice thing is, and I'll show you on one of these other screens as well, they now link to the case ID right here in the shipment. So if you go look at the shipment, you can't remember if you've opened the ticket for it or if you've addressed it, you can go in here and click on the actual shipment ID, and it will pull up the actual case and the case notes. So obviously this was just open, so there'll be nothing there, but you can both the case notes. Here's one that was opened by one of the software packages I use actually a couple of weeks ago. So on this one, you can open it and you can actually see the resolution. These items were missing. Here's the reimbursement. They kind of give you some help text, and then you can vote if you like to support or not. So it gives you a real good way to go back and see, there was a discrepancy here. Did I report it? Or you can do a spreadsheet and keep tabs on the shipments and mark them once they're reconciled. And then here's another one where, if you shipped the items and they're just missing them, you can say, which was the case here. You can say, hey, these are missing, please research it. I typically don't put any information in this because if they want more, they'll ask for it. And then just submit your request here. So that's basically how you reconcile inbound shipments. Fairly straightforward, a lot easier than actually reconciling all the other reimbursements. For the other reimbursements, if you go to your reports menu and choose fulfillment, the majority of the reports information we used are under this inventory section. So on the left, there's a inventory section of reports. You can click on show more and it lists all the inventory reports. Basically, there's a few things you want to look out for issues not related to inbound shipments. If the warehouse loses some of your items, you're entitled to a reimbursement. If the distributor, as they call it, which is the carrier such as UPS on inbound shipment, if they damage it, you're entitled to a reimbursement. If a return is not received back from the customer within 45 days, you're entitled to a reimbursement of the refunded fees. If Amazon sends out a replacement, such as the customer says, hey, this is broken, and Amazon says, no problem, we'll send you a new one. If they don't return that original one that was broken, you're entitled to reimbursement. Warehouse damages, you're entitled to reimbursement. Or if the wrong FN SKU is returned. Each of your items, each item you carry has a different FN SKU for that particular item. So if someone orders from 2 different vendors and returns someone else's FN SKU to you, then you're entitled to reimbursement for that. Keeping track of that is an absolute bear. You probably have all seen the email you get from Amazon when there's a return. It basically says on this order number, this was returned. I'll pull it up. I'm sure I have a couple in here. It says, it was returned and how much was reimbursed and et cetera. Amazon will not typically follow up on that unless, you specifically ask them to. So if you do get one of those, you kind of have to log it on your own to keep tabs on it. So here's one. Refund initiated, gives the order number. This is the item that's initiated on a refund. So what a lot of people do is they will either hit a star or log this in their email to follow up on this in 45 days, because if this order isn't returned in 45 days, then you're entitled to a reimbursement. And the way you check on that is you just copy the order number. Let me go back here and I'll open a different tab so we don't lose our place. you copy your order number, and then when you go to your payment summary and go to all statements, and you can paste in your order number here, and that will search all of your all of your order history. Okay, so see, I pasted in that order number. It shows the actual order payment of $40.99 happening on the 29th. They asked for a refund 11 days later. So they have 45 days from this date to actually return the item, or I'm entitled to reimbursement. Various ways you can do it. I'll show you the software in a couple of weeks. It'll automate it for you. Probably the most popular way of doing it is when you get those refund emails, just paste that order number into a spreadsheet, put the date that you receive it. So for this one, I actually received it 21 hours a day. So yesterday, the 10th, which matches the date. And then just calculate 45 days. You can use an Excel formula. There's apps that do that, and just put like a tickler for 46 days later, because you want to eventually go back and see that they actually either returned it to your inventory or that you actually were reimbursed when they didn't return it. So that's one way that's the way to keep track of returns. The other thing to watch out on, and this has been happening a lot more for a lot of people, including myself, is Amazon will frequently lose inventory, moving it back and forth, and then not really say anything to you about it, not report it. So if you look at your inventory adjustments report, and this is something that's good to check at least once a month, and I think you'll be surprised at all the stuff that goes on. You can do your inventory adjustments for, say, your last 30 days, and that will show you all the times that Amazon adjusted your inventory for reasons other than a sale or return, basically. So it's just kind of like administrative changes. So, and you kind of have to view it in reverse chronological order, so it helps to download it. But as you can see here, this inventory is misplaced in ONT2 on the 8th, and on the 9th they found it. Here was one that was misplaced, and as of today, they still haven't found it. Transfer into a holding account is when something's returned and it's damaged, or when something's damaged in general, whether it's returned or warehouse damaged or distributor damaged, etc. Inventory misplaced, again, transfer from holding account. That's when they have unexpected inventory found or a discrepancy. They'll put it in a holding account, and then to replace yours, they'll transfer it back out. This can also be if you have commingled inventory. They could transfer yours to and from a holding account or their actual inventory. Damage at Amazon Fulfillment Center. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts. And this happened October 27th. I have not yet received a reimbursement, or Amazon hasn't even really said anything to me about it. The concerning piece is it says damage to Amazon Fulfillment Center, but it says sellable. So this is an item that I would probably do a return do a recall, so I can just inspect it and see why they say it's damaged, how damaged it is, if it's still sellable, etc. So there's really no easy way to track this other than just download it to a spreadsheet and just matching them one by one. The Amazon does provide reports, like if you want to see, everything that went on with a particular item. You can copy your merchant SKU. If you go to inventory reconciliation, you can plug in that SKU and you can see, for a date range, basically, everything that's happened with that SKU. So if I plug that SKU in and do October 1st through November 30th, or November 5th, I'm sorry. And again, I'm under reports, fulfillment, inventory reconciliation. If you plug in October 1st through November 5th, it will show you a basically summarized version of everything that's going on with that particular SKU. So beginning quantity is 4. That means as of October 1st, there were 4. 1 unit was in, which means they probably found it, I'm guessing. Let's click on this and see what that says. Yeah, it's not very helpful. Oh, there we go. Unsellable. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that one. That's obviously one I'd have to run down and open the ticket on. But for whatever reason, they think they gained 1 unit, and then 4 went out. So 3 were sold, 1 was damaged, and so we're left with 1. So just looking at this, I'm guessing that they damaged one and they pulled one from their stock, or yeah, because I don't commingle. So they pulled one from their stock to replace the damaged one. That's why I still have one. So the reason probably I didn't sell four is because one of them was damaged in the process. You can click the See Reimbursements button, and it will show you any reimbursements that you've received for that specific date range. It's not specific to the SKU. It's just all the reimbursements. So here they're showing, customer return that was reimbursed. That was probably damaged by the customer. Damage at the warehouse, lost inbound, customer returns. Here's everything that's reimbursed and the amount that they reimbursed. See this one. This was one that was missing inbound. There's the case, and if you notice that the amount total is $0, that's because they didn't reimburse me with cash. They reimbursed me with inventory, which means that Amazon carries this particular item, or they pulled it from another seller. Who knows what they did, but they pulled that particular item and reimbursed me with that item essentially. So in this one, I don't get money back. I just get that item back in. So they made it whole. Again, that's for the specific SKU. So the inventory reconciliations, if you know a specific SKU, you just want to find out what happened with it. The inventory adjustments is the one that shows actually which inventory that you've had non-sales related occurrences occur with. So again, the best way to do this manually is to just download it to a spreadsheet and just try to reconcile them one by one, which is a pretty tedious operation. Or as I mentioned a couple weeks, there's only one software package I'm aware of that does this automatically, but we'll be stepping through that the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. A couple other reports that you want to pay attention to in here in the inventory section. Excess inventory is interesting in that they take your sales rate for items and they list the items that they think you have too much stock on. So if you have items that haven't sold in a while, or if you have way too many based on the sell rate, they kind of approximate a 6-month overage. So they're trying to help you avoid long-term storage fees essentially. But this excess inventory is a good report to check. Stranded, everybody knows what stranded inventory is. I'm sure that's inventory where it cannot be fulfilled in its current state. So either it's missing a listing, it's missing some data, there's something wrong with it. It's just basically stranded. Reserved is when Amazon's got reserved for movement between warehouses or for sales. We covered the reconciliation. That's just a report of all your FBA inventory. This is the report that you want to download at the end of the year for tax purposes, unless you track that some other way. Daily, monthly inventory history just kind of shows you, a snapshot of all your inventory at the end of each day, end of each month. Received is all your incoming shipments essentially. Inventory health shows you how competitive your price is, how fast something is selling, how many units you have, just kind of an overall snapshot of your inventory. And this is the Manager FBA inventory report, which you can actually use to get an as of the moment snapshot, I guess, basically, rather than like an end of day history. It's a right now on demand report. The cross-border inventory movement, that's kind of interesting to look at if you're ever wondering, if you opted in for international sales, and Sean has a video that kind of steps through that. If you run this report, it will show you everything that's sold internationally. So you can pick a time period and it will show you basically everything that's sold and where it's sold to. So Canada, Puerto Rico, Great Britain, Mexico, I'm not sure what SG is, Australia, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. It kind of shows you, everything that's basically selling. So you can see if that's working out for you or not. Inbound performance just kind of shows you the number of issues you've had with your shipments, whether or not units were missing or extra units, or if you didn't polybag correctly or didn't prep correctly, etc. If you've ever tried to sell a unit that was marked as hazmat, and it says it's currently under review for hazmat. Check back later, etc. This is where you go to find out, and they're doing away with this report for some reason, but it still works now. But this is where you can go to find out if that unit is still marked hazmat, or if it's been approved, or what have you. So you can do like a date range if you just want to look in general at your inventory, or you can plug a specific SKU in. So here are some. Now these items, I can tell you, I just scanned on the 6th basically to add to a shipment. So they are a hazmat item, so they went and did a hazmat check to make sure that they are a hazmat item that's allowed. Some of them are blocked, as you can see, but then they will come up and be allowed at a later date. It's just where you can go back and kind of see the status of any SKUs when you hit a hazmat issue. So I know that was a quick run through. As I was mentioning to Sean, it's a very dry topic. It's free money, so it's definitely something you want to check into, because Amazon is they're responsible for your inventory, but they don't consider themselves responsible for reconciling and accounting for all your inventory. So it's definitely something that you want to keep tabs on, because if something goes missing or damaged, you're not necessarily guaranteed that they're going to reimburse you for it. They are not very good at reimbursing on returns that don't meet the criteria. I don't know if they don't have an automated process for that or what the deal is, but that's definitely something you have to keep tabs with them on. And again, there's a variety of rules for returns that would be a good idea to look up and familiarize yourself with them. We went over a few of them about they need to be returned within 45 days. It has to be your actual product, so the FNSKU has to match. Has to be returned in, with all the original pieces and parts. Technically, it's supposed to have a UPC code on the package when it's returned. So if they rip it out of the box and don't return the box, that's something you can dispute with Amazon, and they will typically reimburse you on. Damages, get in the habit of whenever you ship your inbound shipments off to Amazon, just copy and paste the shipment ID into a spreadsheet, and then once it's there and received, go back, a week or 10 days later, and just make sure all the units were checked in. Make sure none of it was marked damage. Make sure all that stuff made it into your inventory. And if not, right there on that same page, like we showed you, you can click and open tickets, and then get those resolved. We'll see. That was all I had listed on my notes to cover. You guys are quiet tonight. Does anybody have any questions about returns or reimbursements or reconciliation, or anything along those lines, or anything really in general? Any questions? Hopefully, you guys are all hustling and getting inventory in for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and in the middle of Q4. So, if you have any questions related to that, let me know. Trying to think if anything's coming up on Amazon. Amazon's published cutoff dates for shipments. I'll dig that up and send it to Valerie to post in the group. But essentially, they have a date where they recommend that you have all your shipments inbound if you want them to be available by Black Friday, which is obviously a big milestone day. I believe that is the 14th, but I will dig up the actual notice from Amazon and send it to be posted. Otherwise, no questions in the chat group. If no one has any questions, then we can go ahead and call it a wrap. Yep, I guess we're good. So appreciate you guys attending. If you have any questions, go ahead and tag me in the Facebook group or send a message, and we'll get them addressed. You guys have a good night.